The feeling is definitely there. It's a new morning in America. Fresh, vital. The old cynicism is gone. We have faith in our leaders. We're optimistic as to what becomes of it all. It really boils down to our ability to accept. We don't need pessimism. There are no limits.
It figures it would be something like this.
Our nation, our ideals of vision.
Excuse me.
Just survive.
You know, you look like your head fell in the cheese dip back in 1957. You're okay. This one, real fucking ugly. You see, I take these glasses off, she looks like a regular person, doesn't she, huh? Put them back on, formaldehyde face. That's what we got.
That's enough out of you. You get out or I call the cops.
Call the cops? You know what you need? You need a Brazilian plastic surgeon.
I've got one that can see.
He's a tall Caucasian male, doesn't appear armed, wearing sunglasses.
I don't like this one bit. Not one bit. I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Welcome to 3NN Podcast with your hosts with the most, Nick Tesla and Brian McFadden.
Welcome everybody to 3NN Podcast. My name is Nick Tesla. His name is
Brian McFadden,
and we're here to have a good time. Crack your head wide open like an egg on a Saturday morning. Thank you very much for joining us. We got a lot to get into today, so we're just going to jump right into it. I know some people may be wanting us to readdress the United States as a British colony, is still a British colony, or the United States as a corporation. Want us to touch on our sources or whatever.
I think we quoted all our sources.
We quoted our sources
episodes
that we were reading, and we also gave another couple ones to check out on the last episode. But just so everybody knows, we're going to come back to it and retouch on it within the next 5 to 10 episodes. We'll retouch on it, dedicate a whole nother show to the United States as a corporation. So look forward to that show. Unfortunately, we can't.
Because the main source we were using is broken into 3 sections, and we only read the first section.
Yes, and we also have the sovereign citizen movement and sovereign citizens thing to get to, because I was mentioning sovereign citizens to somebody who was asking me for more evidence and sources for the United States as a corporation. Agreed with sovereign citizenship and didn't see anything wrong with that. Well, that goes right along with the United States as a corporation. So don't hold your breath that we're going to get back to you within the next couple days about that, but definitely look forward that in the next 5 to 10 episodes we're going to touch on that again. And if you're interested, if anybody out there is interested in coming on or wants to come on Skype or anything and touch on the topic, you're more than welcome. You're more than welcome to come, and if you've got something to bring to the table, then please do bring it to the table. Bring it, you know what I'm saying? Bring it on. Again, stepping up to the streets or however it goes. So, Brian, what was I just saying?
A lot. You were explaining that...
oh, okay, yeah. We're going to get back to the corporation, that whole thing, within the next few episodes or next 5 to 10 episodes. But we got a lot to touch on today. There's some the 400 pages, or we thought it was 300 and something pages. 394
I think 322.
Pages. I thought it was 394 pages. Maybe it was 334.
It turned out to be 400.
I don't know exactly. It turned out to be a lot more than that. 400.
And they quietly released it 2.5 weeks later. Like,
all right, we definitely have to get into that, but I don't want to delve right into it. I don't want to dive into it. We're going. That was just us dipping our toe into the. We're pulling up to this pool party, right? We're at this pool party. There's a lot of hot chicks around, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what that has to do with anything. We're pulling up this pool party. Oh yeah, it's because it's a
little
pool
cold
party.
today for
nice.
a pool party.
It is a little cold, but what I'm saying is I'm getting into the mood of summer and springtime. We just dipped our toe into the net neutrality topic. Right now, I have something not more important that I want to touch on, but just as important in my beliefs, and not my beliefs, what I believe is that this is just as important as net neutrality, but and could also affect this person and this organization, and this type of thing could be affected, and you could only be left with big organizations, you know what I'm saying, like UNICEF, even though I don't know how big UNICEF is, but there's a lot of charity organizations out there that are not very charitable. And like I think there's a lot of them where it's admitted that 98% or 97%.
Well, what's that one where they say for 12 cents a day you can help this starving child, and only like 1 cent of it actually goes to them?
Sally Struthers is fat, and they're all fucking.
No, it's the one with the old guy with white hair and a beard. It's like an old guy with white hair and a beard.
You're thinking about Kenny Rogers.
No, not Kenny Rogers.
Didn't Kenny Rogers go out there? The guy looks like Kenny Rogers.
No, it was a commercial, you know.
I'm talking about Sally Struthers from back in the day. Anyway, this is this is a real charity. What I want to get into is a real charity I wanted to touch on, because there's many charities out there where they're not real charities. And those are your big name, big corporation charities that somebody like wins $1 million or inherits $1 million and doesn't really have anything to do with it and doesn't want to live like a lavish life, wants to get themselves a house, a car, and after that they're going to donate a lot of the money because they want to do something that's good for the world and this and that. And they donate, let's just say, $100,000, $200,000 to one of these charities, and they don't realize that $192,000 of that $200,000 they just donated is actually going into the pockets of all the employees of that company. And then they could justify, they work hard for what they do, blah blah blah. Well, no, then what are you donating to that charity for? There's other charities that actually don't use the majority of their money or the money that's donated to them to pay salaries and stuff like that, and pay their CEOs a few $1 million salary. Like, what's up with that? So on that vein, I know of an actual charity that is a real charity, that is a good charity out there, that is transparent, is the realest of the real. It's not some giant corporation, faceless corporation. A corporation can be a person in this country, and that's like so many companies bank on that. They have an image, like a personal image. Well, this isn't about a personal image. This is about doing what's right and helping out where you can. Like, when I think of this person, I think of Dikembe Mutombo as well. Somebody who really is just about doing right. It's not about and I watched an interview with Dikembe Mutombo maybe 2 months ago, and he was talking about his charity, and he said in America, it was so weird because when he started his charity, he was still in the NBA. He was still playing in the NBA, and he was an all-star. And he was so taken back by how unwilling so many people. It's not how unwilling, but how so many people had no interest in donating to his charity to help build hospitals and clothes and feed children in Africa or in Uganda or wherever he's from his village or from his area. Like, nobody, not really too many people were interested. And these people had millions of dollars. They had more money than they would ever need. But they're not interested in donating any of that money to an actual charity that's actually going to do something. And, he talked about that a little bit, and he didn't, put anybody down or anything. It was just, it hit me, it's because Dikembe Mutombo's charity isn't the Red Cross, isn't UNICEF, isn't, one of these big charities that is just bullshit when it comes down. I'm not saying Red Cross and UNICEF.
Foundation.
I haven't looked into it. I don't have all the details and the stats. I just know I've seen enough. I haven't seen the details and the stats. I've seen some of them, but it's not like they're locked in my brain. But I've seen enough to know that the big name charities, Susan G. Komen, 99% of them, bullshit. Because 99% of that money is not going to who they say it's going to help.
That's why I never donate to those, and people be like, "Why you that's fucked up. Why aren't you donating to that? That's a good charity." And when I try to explain, no, it's not, they just get all offended and won't even listen to what I have to say. So it's
I just want everybody to know that there's superheroes do exist. Dikembe Mutombo, in my mind, that's a superhero. And isn't it? It's funny. It's I don't know why this even hit me, because I guess we're talking about sports, and I'm not going more than 30 seconds talking about this. But I wanted to mention this to you on the show, okay? Is the Eagles traded Nick Foles to the Rams for Sam Bradford. Oh my God, it makes me want to gag. It's like the worst trade I've ever seen.
The Panthers let D'Angelo Williams go to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay, well,
that's our star running back.
That's your star running back, but
your quarterback, yes.
Our quarterback. That's our quarterback who 2 years ago threw 7 touchdowns in a game and then wound up in the Hall of Fame. Wound up in the Hall of Fame because of it. And last year didn't do that bad. Nick Foles is in the fucking Hall of Fame. I use that. I say that to so many people. And most people know it, and they're just like, yeah, whatever. Who cares? He's in there for one game. It's not like he's in there for his whole career or his career records or anything like that. He tied a single game record, and he's in there in a display with Peyton Manning in the same year. Him and Peyton Manning both
pretty impressive
7
still,
touchdowns. But he's in the Hall of Fame, right? For Sam Bradford, who was a much higher pick in the draft, but hasn't accomplished anything. Was injured all of last year. All right, that sucks. I said I wasn't going to talk about this more than 30 seconds. I'm upset that I have now. LaShawn McCoy gets traded to the Bills for Kiko Alonso, who's a half-decent quarterback from where? Oregon. Chip Kelly's was the coach.
He's trying to get all of his players.
He's not trying to get all of them. He's getting the players that he likes from Oregon, and the players that are now in the NFL that he liked from Oregon and know his system and know how he likes to run things and know some of his plays and know him personally.
I realized that the second he let McCoy go, because I'm like, wow, that's up there with anything Andy Reid.
He let McCoy go. I was kind of like shocked by that, but I was like, okay, well, what are they going to do? All of a sudden I start hearing people saying, or I hear rumors that DeMarco Murray actually wants to sign with the Eagles, kind of like how
and then he did.
The thing was a few years ago where there were actually a bunch of big-name free agents who wanted to sign with the Eagles, and it was like, this is crazy. Like, I can't believe all these people want to sign with the Eagles.
It's a unique type of offense.
It is a unique type of offense. Well, they got DeMarco Murray and Ryan Matthews. Like, wow, they're really trying to stack it up, but you still got a crap quarterback. So unless our game was like going to be modeled after Pittsburgh, where it's like it's based on the run and always will be based on the run, and that's why we have 2 beast running backs, then like I don't understand what they're
we had
really
2 beast
or they're
going to
try and draft Marcus Mariota because he's the Oregon guy. But all right, listen, what happened in Dallas? DeMarco Murray leaves. Who comes in?
Chris Christie.
McFadden. Darren McFadden comes in as
corner?
their new. No, Darren McFadden was drafted in like the first
he's a running
round,
back, right?
Like, pick number 8 or 9 or 10 or something by the Oakland Raiders. Alabama, I think he was.
Alabama,
he was a beast in college, and then he came into the NFL, and he hasn't really been that good. On Madden, he's rated 71. There's like literally 30 other free agent quarterbacks rated ahead of him that you could pick up.
He's a running back, not a quarterback.
I'm talking about who replaced Dallas's, who replaced DeMarco Murray in Dallas. As soon as I heard Darren McFadden, the first time you told me your last name, that was the only thing that I could think that was like that stood out about you or your name was like McFadden. Like Darren McFadden, like the running back for the Raiders.
Even before he got into the league, there was a corner in Pittsburgh named.
Funny.
His name was Bryant McFadden.
Oh, there's been a few McFaddens in the
people
NFL.
used to at first people didn't realize there was a T on the end, and people were like, "Is his name Brian McFadden?"
Yeah, that was pretty funny. All right. Now, back to what we were talking about. I just wanted to say that's funny because it was like everything's cyclical, and that kind of like just came right. That whole memory of the first time you told me your last name came right back to my head. Like, holy shit, now I'm going to be hearing the McFadden name, even though like a year and a half ago, the McFadden name, that was the only time I ever heard the McFadden name was if I heard Darren McFadden talk about it or if I was playing Madden or something and saw Darren McFadden on the screen or something. Other than that, never would think about the McFadden name. It wouldn't pop up into my name, you know, or pop up into my head. Is there a beer, a McFadden's beer or something? Like, is there McFadden's restaurant? I think there's McFadden's restaurant.
McFadden's bar attached to Citizens Bank Park.
Yeah, McFadden's. Okay, so that's the other time.
Funny story.
But
I
don't go there anymore.
Me and my buddy Mike. This is actually a funny story. Me and my buddy Mike went there.
How long is this?
Like
funny
the
story?
day it opened. Short. We went there like the day it opened because we didn't know. We're just like, well, we're driving around Philly, whatever. Like, let's go to the bar.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we check it out. Hey, well, what do you know? This place is new. Hey, it's called McFadden's. Let's check it out. We go up. The guy at the door is like, yeah, we just opened. $10 cover because Blackthorn's playing the night.
Yeah.
And he's like, I need to see some ID. We show ID. He sees mine, Brian McFadden. Oh, I'm sorry. Right this way, sir.
You told me
we were
that
getting
before.
free friggin' drinks all night.
You told me
It
that.
only worked that one
Like-
time, though. I guess they caught on quick.
I think a lot of times I do that with people. The first time they tell me their last name, within a few days, like I always end up like talking to them about their last name and bringing up things about their last name. You know, it's a way to connect with somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's a personal way to connect with somebody. It's not just saying like, oh hey, your name's Brian. My brother's name's Brian. That's crazy. It's like McFadden is like a more unique name, even though like unless you got your first name's Clinton Haha. Or, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
like, I don't know if his first name's Clinton Haha or his last name's Haha Dix. I don't know. But you got some, like, crazy name like that.
Actually,
that's a weird name.
I think it's Ha Clinton Dix.
Oh, okay. So if your first
I think
name's Haha.
Clinton Dix
okay.
is hyphenated as his last
Okay,
name.
whatever. See, I don't even know. I don't pay attention.
I really,
All right.
I think.
with last name talk. Enough with...
How about
then
Obama,
we're
Saturo,
going to slip out my
Davis?
real last name, and I don't want that to happen, even though somebody will put
What,
it
Tesla?
out there anyway. Yeah, Tesla is I'm actually going to change my name to that.
You should legally get it changed to Nick Tesla. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, you know, I don't know. I don't.
That would be cool.
I don't want to talk about it. Anyway, I don't want to talk about any of that right now. I want to get back to charity and real charities that matter, and this deserves at least 5 minutes of our time. And it's not going to take at least 5 minutes. I'm saying that it deserves 5 minutes of our time because we might talk about it afterwards. But I just wanted to read this. It's maybe 7 paragraphs, but they're all like 2 sentences.
I find it amazing you have a laptop in front of you and you're reading off a phone.
Because I posted the link, or I saved the link on my phone, and it's a Facebook link, so it's
See
harder.
what I've been doing? I save the links to both just in case something happens with the laptop.
It's harder
I
to
have the
bookmark a
phones available.
Facebook link. It's harder to bookmark it and take that link and pull it up on the computer than to just tap the thing on my computer or on my phone here. All right. All right.
We have a guest, a kitty.
All right.
Cute kitty.
Stop, Brian. I need everybody to pay attention. This is like serious time, and you're trying to get all like, we have a guest. I'm talking about charities and a charity that matters. All right. So please don't distract me with cute kitty talk. All right. Or I'm gonna lock the cat in the room so you can't play with him. All right.
Aw.
You shouldn't be playing with pussy during our show. You know that.
At least
All
it's
right.
not cock.
Yeah, damn straight it's not.
If you had a
Playing with-
rooster.
no.
Actually, I'd wonder about you if you had a rooster. I'd be wondering
You start
about
playing
you.
with cock during the show, and your ass is out on the curb. All right, enough. Listen, I just want to read this.
I'm listening. They're listening. Read it.
You keep distracting me. All right. My name is Einer Rubilar. I was born in Chile and followed my heart to America in 2002. I was determined to make a better life for myself, but what I did not know is that my journey to America would then take me to Uganda. My first adventure to Uganda was filled with personal and professional triumph and a test of my own faith. For the first time in my life, I saw firsthand what poverty in Uganda looked like. I witnessed children hungry and crying for help, parents with a look of hopelessness and their blank stare of fear as they too knew their own future and the future of their children was unknown. All right, I'm going to pull up a picture of him so everybody can see who this awesome guy is. Einer Rubilar. He is like my favorite person on earth. There we go.
He looks like the guy that was always at the Madison.
That is the guy that was always at the Madison. There, B-Rai.
What?
So let's see if we can zoom
Wait,
in on him. Over
who
here.
works at the chocolate factory now? This is the same guy?
He works at the chocolate factory now?
Yeah.
Good, I'm going to go find him.
He does
That's
both-
my boy,
he does
Einer
both.
Rubilar. Einer Rubilar. All right, ready? This is my boy, and once he told me about this, and he told me all this, and I'm reading you right now, and it's very important. This is so much more important than 90%
Our
of
viewers
what we
might
talk
wonder
about.
what that was just about. I just saw the picture. This is a guy that, when I first met Nick, we
Okay,
worked
look,
at
we
this
can tell the
restaurant, and I
background.
know this guy
You're-
and didn't realize
Yeah,
that.
no, we both know him. That's why I thought you already knew that.
No, I had no idea
I
he
thought
was...
you knew his name was Einer Rubilar. You
I just knew his
you gotta
first
start-
name.
You got to start asking people their names, man. You gotta
All I
get
knew
to
was his
know
first
people.
name.
If you know somebody, get a little more personal with them.
Some people... I did you. That's how we have this show going now. I got personal.
Hey there, we got this show. All right. Now back to what I was saying. It's very serious, though. It's like it's serious,
But
but
that's
it's serious because I don't know. I take it serious because I don't want it being trivialized whatsoever. This is not something that should ever be trivialized. All right. When I boarded the plane back to America, I left questioning myself, what can I do? Can I make a difference? Those two questions repeated over and over in my mind for years. My own journey in America was full of many bumps, but I never forgot about the people in Uganda. In 2012, I was determined to return back to Uganda, but that meant financially things would have to change for me. After a year working 3 jobs, thankfully I have my health. I was able to return to Uganda in December of 2013 for 45 days. With help from some of local officials, I was able to find old boreholes that became hidden by the overgrown jungle and repair them one by one. I watched as the village people for once had hope for clean water. Just days before, they were drinking from the same river that animals did, that was full of bacteria. I know this was not the solution to the problem, but I knew it was a great start. With every passing day, the people in the villages embraced me. They were eager to learn how to take care of the boreholes. I started holding small education classes about the importance in maintaining clean water and preserving the land they live off of. Survival for them was about today, and the thought of tomorrow or the future was unimaginable. Once again, I started asking questions to those same locals who had befriended me. I learned that the government was willing to provide trees to the locals if they promised to plant 2 for every one they found cut. I found myself questioning why the people in Buwanga sub-county were not aware of this. Sadly, the village people rarely go into the city due to lack of transportation and money. Now, with every borehole that I repair, a village meeting is held to determine who will maintain and oversee it. Education is now provided about the importance of replacing forestry when they cut down or use the land. The future is now considered, and villages are now preparing. I am not looking to solve the problems in Buwanga. I am looking to offer hope and the promise of a future through clean water, sustaining their food supply, and educating them about the importance of tomorrow. In May 2015 is my next trip to Uganda. I am not only traveling to another country, I am going to a place that I holds a special place in my heart. A place that holds a special place in my heart. I have a purpose, a mission to help to reduce the number of children who have died from hunger or who have died because of the diseases in their water supply. Tomorrow and the future is now a reality. On my own, I have repaired 26 boreholes. There are still 50 left to be fixed, or 49 villages without clean water. With your support, we will be able to create a brighter future for those less fortunate than us by simply concentrating on 3 things: water, food, and education. And because of this, I'm actually going to be... I'm going to try and contact him. I contacted him and he didn't reply to me, so I don't know if he realizes my name is Nick Tesla, because I have a kind of a... I got a government name, a government cheese name, you know what I'm saying? So he might not know that it's me, but he should see the pictures and know that it's me. But anyway, I'm going to try and contact him and see if we can start a GoFundMe or something like that, or I don't know what the other ones are.
I don't know if you're aware of this. Einar, along with Killian Kehoe of Ireland and Bruce and Bridget Daly of Canada, co-founded Takara Resource Center, which is to promote the community development in rural Uganda.
Okay.
And they formed in January 2006. It's www.takara.org for anyone interested.
Spell that for us, please.
Tekera. Takara.
Oh, okay. I would have thought it would have been TEQ. Okay. And also, if anybody wants to find him on Facebook, you can find him. His name is Einar Rubilar. He might not respond or accept your friend request if he doesn't know who you are, but maybe he will. He's a very friendly guy. He's a very, very nice guy. He's like one of the nicest guys I've ever met in my life. And I try and let those people know that when I see them or when I meet them.
This is quite interesting. Real quick, in 2009, TRC joined with ICEF Canada. ICEF Canada currently fully runs and operates the Takara Resource Center.
Okay,
just throwing
that's
that
cool.
out there.
All right, and if you want to find him on Facebook or find his group on Facebook that does this, there is, I think it might be even a corporation now. It might have incorporated, or it might be a nonprofit charity, and this is the nonprofit charity to donate to if you have to, or if you want to donate to something good or to a just cause. New Dawn Nueva Esperanza. So look that up on Facebook, New Dawn-Nueva Esperanza, and you'll find it's Nueva Esperanza. I'm pretty sure is New Dawn in Spanish or something.
I think, probably.
So in peace and friendship, we will live. He's one of the greatest guys I've ever known. All right. So after that, Brian, can you tell me what is up with the motherfucking FCC? No, Brian, tell me what's going on with net neutrality, all right? Apparently there was 400 pages released, where we're now actually going to cannonball in, because we got about 25 minutes to 35 minutes to touch on this topic. So,
Basically,
Cannonball
the FCC
in.
is seizing the internet.
Okay, now give me some
They're
background
basically-
and sources. Where are your sources, Brian? I need your
Okay.
sources, Brian.
My sources that...
Or give me more information. You can't just say that, Brian.
Oh, before I even get started, so I'm not quoting sources every time I speak, my combined sources for this are the 400 pages themselves from the FCC, an article on InfoWars by Alex Jones and Kit Daniels, which I mention only because they picked through the 400 pages and found some stuff that I missed.
Okay.
I also have Cornell Law University from cornell.edu, citing for U.S. codes and such that are referenced within. And it basically, they're picking and choosing regulations from various laws and regulations that have been passed over decades, just picking and choosing what they want and piecing it together into this new law with new authority where they're going to take control of all telecommunications and put it basically under the same rules for cable TV, but their enforcement is the same methods used by the Justice Department.
Don't like that.
Yeah, that sounded kind of Orwellian in a type of way.
Don't like that.
Like just
Brian.
picking from Jones and Daniels' article. The agency is going to regulate the internet like broadcast radio and television through a patchwork of telecommunications laws which were developed not only separately of each other but also in different decades.
Wow. That's insane, Brian.
And they're basically picking the parts they want from those laws and combine them into this 400-page hostile takeover of the internet.
All right, now, you had sent me a thing on Facebook, okay? You had sent me a message where you had looked at the... you had it pulled up. I don't know if you maybe had it pulled up or an article on it pulled up. But it said the enforcement options or whatever.
Okay.
You had it highlighted. Whatever you had highlighted for me,
Section
right under that.
536, or
It was only like a paragraph long.
Yeah. Enforcement, Section 36. Or
Yes.
Section 5, enforcement.
What?
Paragraph 36. I don't know.
Okay, just read.
Screw it.
Yes.
The Commission may enforce the open internet rules through investigation and the processing of complaints, parentheses, both formal and informal.
Okay, I don't like the informal sounding.
Yeah,
but,
that doesn't sound
They're
good.
both bad, actually.
Well,
but-
it continues.
Okay, go ahead.
In addition, the Commission may provide guidance through the use of enforcement advisories and advisory opinions, and it will appoint an ombudsperson in order to provide the Commission with additional understanding, particularly of technical issues. The order, capitalized O, the order delegates to the Enforcement Bureau the authority to request a written opinion from an outside technical organization or otherwise to obtain objective advice from industry standard setting bodies or similar organizations. And then if you skip down to legal authority...
Yes, that's what I want to do next.
Okay, Section F is legal authority. We're going to 272, 273, 274. If anyone actually downloaded the PDF of the 400 pages, you're on page 120, middle of the page. Bold print, F, legal authority.
What's it say?
We ground the open internet rules we adopt today in multiple sources of legal authority, Section 706, Title II, and Title III of the Communications Act.
Mm-hmm.
We marshal all of these sources of authority toward a common statutorily supported goal. Basically, they're taking bits and pieces of former laws to make a new one. To protect and promote internet openness as a platform for competition, free expression, and innovation, a driver of economic growth, and an engine of virtuous cycle of broadband deployment. Okay, economic growth, so they're going to tax the shit out of us.
Oh, man.
Continuing
Free expression, you hear that? Free expression? So the government is going to try and guarantee free expression? Well, didn't they try and guarantee free expression with the First Amendment? And
something like that, yeah.
And that's pretty much
what is
been,
it called? Freedom of speech.
That's pretty much been like kind of wiped off the table. And But they still act like they guarantee it. Don't they still act like they guarantee it? And that's what we stand for?
You have free speech until you disagree with us.
You want to come to America because, exactly, you have free speech until you start talking shit on us. And then that speech
the very next,
free. You
very next
paying.
paragraph, 274. We therefore invoke multiple complementary sources of legal authority. As a number of parties point out, our authority under Section 706 is not mutually exclusive with our authority under Titles 2 and 3 of the Act. Rather, we read our statute to provide several alternative sources of authority that work in concert toward common ends. As described below, under Section 706, the Commission has the authority to adopt these open Internet rules to encourage and accelerate the deployment of broadband to all Americans. So that's what Obama was talking about when he was running, is we're going to give everybody free broadband.
No,
yeah, but they're going to tax the shit out.
No, when Obama was running and when he was saying that, you're talking about 2008, right?
I believe it was 2008.
Yeah, if he was saying that in 2008, even though he was saying some good stuff in 2012 too, and it was like, yeah, bullshit. We already know you're lying.
Well, in the footnotes, one thing that's they reference in their footnotes is U.S. Code Title 47, Chapter 12, USC 1302A, Section 706A, and that is what I pulled off of the Cornell Law website. That's what they're using as their declaratory statement for their 400-page regulations. And Section A of that reads, the Commission and each state commission with regulatory jurisdiction over telecommunication services shall encourage the deployment on a reasonable and timely basis of advanced telecommunications capability to all Americans, including in particular elementary and secondary schools and classrooms, by utilizing, in a manner consistent with public interest, convenience, and necessity, price cap regulation. They actually use the term price cap, regulatory forbearance, measures that promote competition in the local communications market, or other regulating methods that remove barriers to infrastructure investment.
Huh. Interesting.
So they're basically saying that we're going to give you safe internet that we regulate. We're going to keep it safe to make sure you have free speech, and we're going to tax the crap out of you for it.
I'd say it
and if you say something we disagree with, we're just going to...
It opens the door for them to have the ability, but nowhere in there does it say there, from this point forward, is a tax instituted on...
No, that's the thing. You can't... They never say it right away. You can't go by what it says, what they say they're going to do. You have to look at the enforcement section and the powers and jurisdictions that they're giving themselves. Because somewhere down the line in the future, you're going to see them go back to this document and reference this for a future action that they're going to take.
Right,
that's how they always do it.
Here's my question, right? And I came back to this before when we touched on it before. How does it affect us now? How does it affect us now or within the next 6 months?
I can't predict what's going to happen in the next 6 months.
How does it affect us who do a show like this? One,
right now, it's not affecting us.
Shout out to thebigplantation.com. How does it affect a site like thebigplantation.com? And last but not least, how does it affect just somebody who does not make videos, does not have a website, does not even have a Facebook, like, I don't want to say Facebook page, but like doesn't have a Facebook like fan page or anything. I don't want to say fan page either. Just has a regular Facebook. Doesn't have pages. Isn't a manager of pages or an admin of any pages or anything like that. Just has a regular Facebook. Likes commenting on things. Likes talking about things with people on Facebook. But likes talking about politics. Knows that it's all a sham. You know what I'm saying? Like watches Alex Jones every now and then. Watches a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? Is into a lot of things. Even people who are into like Jason Silva and then Shots of All. Like there's amazing things out there to see on the internet. But like people who are into not your everyday real midget housewives of L.A. or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like people who aren't into watching Jerry Springer, you know what I'm saying? Like I can't stand people like trying to defend watching Jerry Springer. Baggage, that show Baggage is actually kind of fun to watch.
Yeah, that is a funny show. That is a funny show.
Springer itself,
it makes me feel better about myself.
See, Baggage feels like it's about it's the same kind of raunchiness as
It's just
Springer,
another
but
distraction.
It's about 5%.
It's only a
about
30-minute distraction that's really amusing and helps my
Well, think about think about the total. The only time the show is actually really fun is when Jerry's making quips and like making little jokes, and when they open the bags. So that's literally like 5 total minutes of the show, and it's a 23-minute show with commercials, or after commercials are taken out, 24-minute show or something, 22-minute show. So it's like literally there's only a small percentage of the show. 5 minutes is a chunk of the show. It's more like 30 or 40% or whatever, not
where he's just talking
but
and
20 or
interviewing.
30. But it's either Jerry making jokes or people opening up bags. Talking and interviewing sucks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The camera shots, like pulling out and everything, that sucks. Like I don't care. Like, but it's so much better than the full on 90% of the show content is just like raunchy. I can't stand that. I can't stand that with Jerry Springer. But what the hell were we just talking about before that?
We were talking about the enforcement and jurisdiction that the FCC is giving itself and how it's going to affect, like, the big plantation.
Yeah, but how's it going to affect anybody who's interested in the kind of stuff that we're interested in? Is it going
Well, if somebody goes on Google or YouTube or something like that and tries to search out that material, it may now be one of the first things that come up, but then it might be further down the list.
Is this kind of like the Patriot Act? Is this kind of like them, and they didn't even need a false flag event? The false flag event that they used was the Sony hacking, which was kind of like our fault anyway. Yeah. But and it might not even have been North Korea or anybody from the outside. But it's kind of like the Patriot Act, as in the Patriot Act basically put down on paper that they were allowed to do things that they already did.
Yeah.
And people just didn't know.
Oh, yeah.
So
a lot of it is. Some of it is. Some of it is.
This is kind of the same thing. And if you're smart and you know, and you really have like looked into a lot of stuff, and you're not afraid to like you're not afraid to like really delve in to really like scary topics like
the rabbit hole.
The rabbit hole. Thank you. Exactly. You're not afraid to delve into the rabbit hole head first. Then you already know. You probably shouldn't be using Google. You might want to use Start Page.
Yeah.
You probably what is it? You want to use the Tor search engine, or the not Tor search engine, the Tor browser, because the Tor browser, there's a lot of privacy buffers for yourself. You know,
which I do need to get that installed on this laptop.
Well, that's like, I don't even know what the hell I was saying, but that's like, you already know that you got to do that kind of stuff, or you already know that's. And you're not that active on Facebook. If you're very smart about it, you know that Facebook is actually, it may not be, there's a lot of people who think Facebook is completely controlled by the NSA or the CIA.
It was actually created by the CIA as a social experiment to spy on people, to see if they could get us to confess shit ourselves. There
is a control level there. But you also got to weigh how many people talk about stuff, and I don't say you know that person personally, but they don't disappear off of Facebook.
I think it's messed up, though, that you can get, like, ISIS recruiting on Twitter and Facebook, and that's fine. But if somebody posts a picture of their kid, they're arrested for pedophilia. Or if somebody posts, something proving Obama's not an American or something like that, that they get their Facebook banned.
Yeah. I don't know,
Some fishiness going on there, huh?
I don't know.
Oh, wait, I forgot ISIS and Al-Qaeda are the same thing, and we funded them and created them. Oh, wait, who was that? The CIA!
Yeah.
It makes sense now.
Yeah. Well, there's something else I wanted to read you on, what do you call it? On net neutrality.
Let's hear it.
This is from CNET. CNET.com is, I would not say...
Oh, no.
I would not say that CNET is an alternative news source or anything like that, or even close to it. But CNET is a source that before I was woken up and before I was interested in politics or anything like that, I was big into technology and computers and stuff like that. And CNET is the source to go for a lot of that. CNET used to have a TV channel on TV. I used
before
to watch,
you read this, let me answer your question about the big plantation.
What?
Section 706 which they've referenced as one of their things that gives them authority that they're pulling their laws from, allows the FCC to utilize the price cap regulations and measures that promote competition in the local telecommunications market, i.e. de facto favoritism towards select interest groups. So basically, if you're paying them a crap load of money and toting the party line, you're gonna be the one that gets all the search engine.
Yeah, You're getting the highest speed. You're getting the best search engine
you're getting
optimization.
Everything they said that they were trying to prevent is what they're giving themselves
Brian,
the authority to do.
I don't know if you've noticed that, but it's not. I'd like to say that they need to enforce that, but the American public and society at large, en masse, enforce that on their own. I don't want to say enforce it, but let's just look at it this way. Cookies are around for a reason. Your internet experience is shaped for you by your previous internet experience. Your future and present internet experiences are always being shaped by your previous internet experiences. So when you start up a new computer and you go to Google for the first time, it's like that's like the only time. Like, you can clear your cookies, but it's your computer, the internet. Not your computer. The internet is starting to keep a log of your IP address. Unless you're going to go through the lengths of using proxy IP addresses so that they can't keep a log or whatever. But the internet starts to keep a log of what you're interested in. A lot of people talk about that. It's like, well, how does it know that I have diabetes? I'm on cnet.com and it says that I got diabetes. I have never even went to a website talking about diabetes on here. I got sent an email from CVS saying that that my diabetes medication was ready, and looked at that on my computer. And how the hell is it knowing that I have diabetes? And all of a sudden I'm seeing all this stuff about diabetes, and it's like, oh, it's all connected. You know what I'm saying? It's like, think about that.
Well, just to make everybody feel better, I know this will make everyone more comfortable. They have an entire section about how these regulations won't restrict law enforcement.
Yeah. Which is just scary to think of. Like, your first instinct, I guess our first instinct is there's something wrong there. But most people's first instinct, I don't know. After Ferguson, it's like, who knows anymore? But I'd like to say,
came out,
I'd like to say
it was a false flag. His hands weren't up.
I'd like to say after Ferguson, people are a little more critical of the
Which reminds
police.
me, we should probably take Alf's sign down since his hands weren't up and he deserved to be shot. I'm sorry for saying it, but...
Don't shoot. It's not that he deserved to be shot, Brian. I cannot believe I just heard you say he deserved to be shot. You weren't there. And none of us were there. The only people that know if he deserved to be shot was the Officer Wilson.
You're right. I withdraw that statement.
What's his face and God. You know what I'm saying? Trayvon Martin. Almost.
Trayvon Martin.
Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman, the Officer Wilson, and God are the only ones that know if he deserved to be shot. All right, I want to read you this thing for CNET. CNET is not to be trusted for verifiable, great information. But you know what? They have a list. I'm a fan of lists on this show because sometimes they're easier to get through than just reading a paragraph of somebody talking about their perspective on something. All right. So this is their list of 13 things you need to know about the FCC's net neutrality regulation. It says, having trouble digesting all 400 pages of the FCC's net neutrality order? Have no fear. CNET's Marguerite Reardon is here to tell you what you really need to know. I don't like when you see somebody saying that. I'd like people to encourage people to read it yourself.
Yeah, RT did one of those.
Highlights, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you don't need to read it. Here's what it says. And it's like, well, they could have just been told this is what you need to be like focusing on and telling people this is what it says.
Because I don't know if you noticed, almost all of these lists on all of these websites are the same things, and it's pointing out look, we're protecting you, we're helping you.
I want you to...
It doesn't mention the other parts.
I don't want you to try and dismantle what they're saying, but I want you to try and see if there's any bullshit in what they're saying. We've done this before, and you haven't come out with bullshit. But this one, it's CNET, and it's probably looking at the net neutrality on a positive perspective, or on it being a good thing perspective. So I want you to call out the bullshit. Let me finish what I'm saying. Don't say, oh, no, stop right there. I don't think so, because it says right here, like, let me finish what it says, and then come back with your rebuttal, okay? You got to be a good debater here. We're not really debating.
Oh, man, I got to open the document
all right, you ready?
in full here for this one.
So, 400 pages of government speak and legalese is a lot to swallow, let alone digest. So we've done it for you. What follows is a quick FAQ explain the most pressing issues. I don't like when they say, so we've done it for you. But let's see what they think they've done for us. Let's see, because you're analyzing this. You're analyzing what you believe are the important parts. But there is one thing I do believe. 400 pages of government speak and legalese. We were reading legalese the past 2 episodes. Legalese, you can look at and take in so many different ways.
Yes.
But if you're not a lawyer, so you got to remember that when you're reading those 400 pages, you're reading what you think are the important parts. In legalese terms, there could be literally protections for people like us. You're looking at it as, no, that's messed up. Like, it can't be. No, not here you go. We're moving on to this.
3 quick points. The word enforce appears 295 times in this document. The word regulate appears 83 times, and the word fines appears 24 times. I rest my case.
Oh, what was the first one? The first word?
Enforce.
Enforce? Regulate?
And fines.
Okay. Now what I want you to do, and you don't have to right now, all right, if you want to in the part you just read or where you pulled that from, you were doing like you were finding it using the find
word search
feature,
within
word
the PDF.
Feature. Okay, all right. Then I want you to word search civilian for me and word search. I'm going to give you a few words, so if you want to write them down. Word search civilian.
Yeah.
Word search copyright. Word search dissident.
Ooh.
Word search. Truther? No, not Truther. Truther's not going to be in there.
That wouldn't be in there.
Conspiracy. Word search conspiracy, all right? And then, as you look those up, I'm going to read this out a little bit, trying if you can pay attention with just a side ear if you can. Don't cut me off. Just if you hear something that you're like, oh, that's so wrong, then tell me, okay? And we're going to try and quickly get through these. We only got about 15 minutes, so we got 13 things to get through in 15 minutes. So if you've got a rebuttal for something, keep it quick, because I'm just going to move on to the next one.
Gotcha.
Tell me why you think your rebuttal is a rebuttal. All right. Number 1, what are the new rules? Okay. For everybody out there, this is cnet.com, 13 things you need to know about the FCC's net neutrality regulation.
And we do not recommend them as an accurate source on anything.
I recommend them for an accurate source on technology, and this is technology, but then again, this is technology and government mixed together, a mishmash, a melting pot of the two. So they're not the authority on this, but they kind of are an authority on technology. I'll give them that. Not technology companies, technology itself. I'm a fan, and also download.com. I guess I got to give them credit, because download.com, you go to download.com, there's a lot of free stuff to download, free software and games and stuff like that. Not good games, but stuff to download from download.com for free. And I've gone there for literally the past 15 years, and it's been one of my go-to websites for a lot of different applications and stuff. Okay. The FCC's net neutrality order boils down to 3 key rules. No blocking. Simply put, a broadband provider can't block lawful content, application services, or non-harmful devices. Okay, so that's a broadband provider. That does not mean anything, doesn't say anything about the government. All right, no throttling. The FCC created a separate rule that prohibits broadband providers from slowing down specific applications or services, a practice known as throttling. More to the point, the FCC said providers can't single out internet traffic based on who sends it, where it's going, what the content happens to be, or whether that content competes with the provider's business. Okay.
My rebuttal to that.
No, I'm not done. I'm not done.
Oh, that's not the end of it?
That's not the end. We're going through. I got one more. It's short. So you got a rebuttal to no throttling, obviously. All right. No paid prioritization. We know about this one, but a broadband provider cannot accept fees for favored treatment. In short, the rules prohibit internet fast lanes. Okay. What was your rebuttal on no throttling?
Elsewhere in the document, I don't have the actual. I think it was under enforcement. I could be wrong about that. But it discussed the Enforcement Bureau ruling what is lawful and what is not, and you have no right to appeal. And this is the FCC saying you have no right to appeal.
I also want you to look up incarceration. Okay.
Hold on, I got a few words that I'm pulling up here.
Well, what I'm curious about with this is, does all of this apply to everyday citizens? broadband providers and internet providers, or both? Because, see, I think you're looking at the impression that I get, and I'm not saying that I'm right and you're wrong, or you're wrong, or you're right and I'm wrong.
Incarceration appears 0 times.
Okay. All right. What was I just saying?
The difference
okay.
between...
You're looking at this, yeah. I have a feeling that you're looking at this as all of these regulations and rules are against the average citizen who uses the internet, and this is fucked up because they can't do this to the average internet user.
Well,
and these
no, I'm looking at no matter who these regulations are written for, they apply to everyone who's on the internet, including the average citizen.
But where does it say that? Because everything that I'm seeing, and I'm not saying everything that I'm seeing because I haven't looked into it enough, but from what I'm seeing so far, and especially from this, is that it applies to broadband internet providers. This applies to broadband, and that's what I'm saying is, where in that does this say that this applies to every single person, the general public and internet providers?
I don't know that it's every
ISPs
single
and the general
person.
public.
Currently, the way it's written, according to people who've dissected it more than I have, because it's 400 pages and I work a full-time job. I've done the best I can on it. I'll quote Kit Daniels. They're combining several separate sections of telecommunications law developed for radio, cable TV, and broadband access for a regulatory takeover of the internet and enforcing it with the same rules and methods as the Justice Department. And they went on and dissected the enforcement and legal authority sections, which I've already touched on briefly. I haven't actually gone through and made all the points that they've made in their article, but I haven't even picked through them actually. But the statutes that they're using are that I have to look up and research that I haven't are Section 706, Broadband Internet Regulation Access of the Telecommunications Act of 96, Title II, Common Carrier Regulations of the Communications Act of 1934, and Title III, Broadcast Station Requirements of the Communications Act of 1934. When I hear Communications Act and Telecommunications Act, well, that seems like it would affect pretty much anyone doing anything on the internet in my mind.
Well, no, it's still not saying in there that it's anybody and anyone.
Well, we already established
the internet.
Everyone is a corporation. We've already established that.
We've established
so
that.
You're no matter what. I'm on the internet now for corporate use, and if they don't like what my corporation's selling, they can.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
there's so many ways that they can argue
maybe in that
this.
400 pages or
Keep
something
in mind,
like that.
This is the FCC, not Congress. So this was specifically written to exclude Congress and says you cannot appeal their decisions. So it's
all right. And these are what I need you to read. Okay, we're moving on to number 2. All right, because we got to get through these. We're only on number 1.
I'm going to keep looking up these words.
Listen to this, though. Why did it take 400 pages to say that? Just to clarify, the actual order takes up 313 pages, and the remaining 87 pages are statements from the 5 FCC commissioners, including lengthy dissenting comments from 2 of those commissioners. Dissenting comments.
Ooh.
Okay, so that's in the 400 pages that you have.
What was it, a 3-2 vote, I believe?
I don't know.
Something like that.
All right. Beyond that, FCC officials say they need to give detailed explanations of how and why they wrote these rules, because they expect the rules will be challenged in court. That's because the FCC's 2 previous attempts were thrown out of court for improper legal justification. AT&T and Comcast have already hinted they will sue the FCC over the rules and, in particular, their reclassification as broadband services. Okay. All right. So, beyond that, basically what I want you to read on there, Brian, is I want you to read the 2 dissenting FCC commissioners and what their points were and what they said. I'm not saying right now.
I don't even know where it would be in the document.
That's why you're gonna have to peruse through the document. I'm not saying right now. Don't waste your time right now. It's just really literally going to be a waste of time right now because they're if 87 pages of it were statements from 5 FCC commissioners, I don't want you sitting here reading 5 pages, a quarter of somebody's statement, 5 pages of it, and it's like we're going to be here for another 2 hours reading this guy's thing.
Exactly.
We look through it, and I want you to find the ones that have dissenting opinions and get their points or whatever, but not right now, not during the show. All right, ready? Some broadband providers say the FCC's rules ban them from effectively managing traffic on their networks. Is this true? That depends on how they want to manage traffic. According to the FCC, broadband providers need to show a technically justified rationale for how they manage traffic, rather than for purely business reasons. Generally speaking, this means your broadband provider can block spam from your email inbox, block traffic from a denial of service attack, and slow down or redirect traffic to ensure the network runs smoothly during times of congestion, so long as the provider isn't targeting any particular application or traffic source. It can't block or slow down access to video streaming services like Netflix or Hulu just because it thinks those services use too much bandwidth. Which, I believe, from what I know, and I could be wrong, they were starting to do. Ever so slightly starting to do. It's a much more of an effect for crap websites, crap hosting you got out there, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
I've heard.
There's, I don't want to call anybody's website crap, but I'm saying like there's where you're not paying $1,000 a month for your hosting, you're paying $50 a month or something for your hosting, you know what I'm saying?
Just to give you an idea what I'm dealing with here, 2.5 pages of this thing are the table of contents.
Yeah, see, that's insane, dude. That's insane.
This thing is insane.
Yep. All right. Will the FCC determine how much, this is number 4, will the FCC determine how much my broadband and wireless service costs? No. The new rules don't regulate broadband rates or require providers to get the FCC's permission to offer new rate plans or new services.
Correct.
Broadband providers will still be able to offer new services and rates, which means they can add a faster tier of service at a new price without permission from the FCC. That's different from the old-style telephone regulation. Under the full Title II regulation, phone companies were required to file tariffs with the FCC and wait for regulatory review before they could offer new products. The FCC said it is forbearing from using some of those requirements for broadband services. You know what this also scares me is that there's not going to be smaller startup broadband companies that start up and offer broadband because the FCC now regulates it and it's not going to allow you to even have a piece of the internet until you go through the whole regulation process and this and that. And it's like,
hey, you.
So there's now a duopoly or whatever it's going to be. There's like 5 or 6 companies that are going to rule the market on broadband internet in the United States, and they just can start jacking the prices up, and no other company can come in with cheap broadband. No other company can do it.
Yeah, I never thought of that. That's true. Yeah.
Or if there's going to be cheap broadband, it's going to come from the same companies, and it's going to be slowed down internet. Like, hey, if you want your internet cheaper, we offer it cheaper. It's just a lot slower.
But I notice already.
You know? That's what it is, dude. I'm telling you, that's what it is.
Already, this list is pointing out like the best, like from the best positive perspective, the most helpful, wonderful, look what we're giving you type of things.
They're not really looking at it in a bad light, and that's for sure.
They're making it look incredible. Oh, look what we're doing for you.
Well, they're not. They're making it sound like
everything you want.
They're making it sound like what I thought that how other people were talking about, how other news agencies and stuff were talking about it before it actually came out, before like when it was getting ready to come out or getting ready to be signed. There were people talking about that it's a good thing and it's protecting us, and I saw a lot of people, like a lot of websites that I actually kind of respect, saying hooray for net neutrality, like we're finally protected, or we're finally our freedom is guaranteed, our freedom is guaranteed. And it's like I don't know, but could those people be right? I'm really not sure yet, Brian. I'm definitely positive that there's definitely some tomfoolery in there, and there's definitely room for tomfoolery and for bad things to happen, but I'm still not 100% sure that this is all for a devious purpose. Now it's always going. It's going to turn into being used for a devious purpose. I was going to say,
what's the last thing
like
that our leadership has done?
It's just our government. That's just how it goes. You know what I'm saying? It's like they're going to shut down the internet whenever they want. Now it's going to be shut down.
Yeah, that's in here. That's
going to be shut down. Yeah, well, they're going to be able to shut it down for a week at a time because there's now.
Oh, they can shut it down permanently. That's in here.
Well, permanently they might not do because people might actually riot, but.
I'm not saying that.
But they can shut it down for 2 or 3 days at a time in certain towns, certain areas, this and that.
They've been doing that. They do that for the G4 Summit,
well, what I'm saying is they can do that now just willy-nilly and use extremists in your area. Or extreme behavior in your area, or extreme. I don't even know how to religious extremists in your area or something. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. nobody's going to want to live around the Westboro Baptist Church. That's for sure. Yeah, but then again, Westboro Baptist Church isn't even looked at as an extremist organization, which is insane. They're like, yes, they're not out there blowing themselves up, but then again, they're not as passionate about their cause as the guys from ISIS. But they're still just as evil about their cause. Their cause is just as evil.
While we're on pause from this, civilian appeared 0 times, copyright appeared 10 times, dissident 0 times, conspiracy 0, piracy 0, blocking appears 206 times, throttling 72 times, and the word court, as in a court of law, appears 258 times.
I wonder where the United Nations comes into this, and if the United Nations plays any part.
I wonder if there's any mention of that.
Yeah.
Let's look at United Nations.
And also, I want you to look at Universal Service Fund. Take a look at the Universal Service Fund and what that is tied to, and who's behind the Universal Service Fund, or has this created the Universal Service Fund? Because the next one is, will my broadband bill go up because of taxes associated with these rules? And it says there's nothing in the FCC's open internet order that imposes new taxes or fees on broadband service. That said, there's a separate FCC proceeding that began before the Net Neutrality order was published that looks at whether broadband customers should pay into the Universal Service Fund. Customers of traditional telephone services already pay into USF to help subsidize phone service in rural and low-income areas. So, I don't know, that's kind of
What was it, Universal Service Fund?
Universal Service Fund. You might have to look that up outside of the 400 pages. I've never even heard of that. That's crazy.
Hold that thought.
Sounds like some world government stuff. I'll tell you what, Universal. All right.
Universal Service Fund appears 12 times.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. Okay. All right. Number 6. Is the government taking over the internet? This one I've been wanting to get to. That's why I rushed to get to. All right. These new rules don't regulate any content or application on the internet or dictate how the internet operates or where traffic is routed.
Doesn't that go immediately against what we already read out of the document saying that they could do that?
Yeah, it's saying no. It's saying that the ability is there, but I do kind of believe that it's not in there saying that it's not dictating how the internet works right now, and it's not dictating. That's what I've been trying to say is, has anything changed for us? Or once this passes, is it going to be like a light switch where you can kind of notice immediately that anything's changed?
We don't know yet.
Because if it's what I believe, that this has already been it's all in place and already all been working, and now they just have a document to say that they can use it and they can do what they've been doing.
Yeah, I just had a thought. Do you think this could be?
You know, what I'm saying? Nothing's changing. Why are we even getting our hands up in arms?
Could they be giving themselves legal justification to use the CIA's Echelon program on the internet? Could that be all this is?
I don't know, honestly, but that's got to be scary for CIA, because that means that's the Echelon program's that much closer to being fully exposed and
it is exposed.
Yeah, all right. That's another one of those things.
Anybody who's in the know, who's awake, has heard of the Echelon program. I mean,
so you can never say anybody who's in the know who's awake. I'm talking about the general public. When I talk about people, I'm talking about you.
Echelon was on the news back in the early 90s.
All right.
Back when people still believed the news too. Write
down on your book right there, Street Interviews, Project Echelon. You're going to go up to people out on the street. All right, I'm going to see if maybe we can do this now. It's still light out. What do you call it? Going to go up to people on the street, and I want you to ask them if they're interested in signing a petition to support Project Echelon, which is a American program, a government program to help fight
extreme terrorists.
Extreme terrorists that may possibly come to America. There you go. Extreme terrorists that may possibly come to America. Have you heard about Project Echelon? And when they say no, say, well, are you interested in signing my petition?
So you want me to bite off of Mark Dice's bit, basically?
No, you know what? I want you to
petition.
No, but I want you to tell people what it really is. That's instead of telling people that fakeness, I want you to tell people what it really is. And my thing is, I don't have the definition for Project Echelon. I know it has something to do with the internet. I know, or it's used on the internet now. But I'm not. I'm more
I know the early details. When
COINTELPRO.
I have no idea what Echelon's up to now. It might not even be Echelon anymore. They might have something new. But when it first started, it could pick through your phone conversations, recognize keywords, determine if certain words came before or after, how you were phrasing your sentences to figure out if you were saying something incriminating that needed to be flagged to the CIA.
Oh, all right. Come on, dude. All right. This is what you're saying to people. If you got room on your notebook, write this down. All right? This is what you're going to say to people. Have you heard about Echelon? When they say no, say it's a giant computer. A giant computer that stores all the technology information out there in a giant computer so that one day we can recreate this world as a complete simulation and people can come back and live. They'll try and recreate your life the best that they can. So the more that you are online and stuff, the more they can recreate your life. And it'll be as soon as holograms and 3D video games and stuff like that are available, they're going to release this game. It's more of like the World Archives, you know? Tell people it's the World Archives. It's for our future generations to be able to study us and have as much information about us because we don't have as much information as we'd like a lot of times about our.
So the CIA's Echelon package.
You don't say the CIA's, you just say Echelon, okay? Have you heard about this thing called Echelon, okay? And when they say, what?
Oh, you
Echelon.
mean that mall that's like 20 minutes south of here?
Echelon.
I guarantee I'll get somebody that'll say that. You mean that mall down in Voorhees?
Oh, actually, you call it the Project Echelon computer.
The Project Echelon computer?
Yes, Project Echelon computer. Have you heard about the PEC? And when they're like, the what? Say the Project Echelon computer. And they'll be like, what is that? Say it's this big computer they're working on that stores all the information. It's a big computer they're working on, PEC. Project Echelon computer. And ask people, you'll get people that say they've heard of it.
Oh, I'm sure they will, because nobody wants to look dumb.
But that's what I'm saying. My point made. Project Echelon isn't something that's fully exposed. It's the NSA spying on our phone conversations is fully exposed.
True.
Anything past that and reading and storing our emails, not reading our emails, storing our emails.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
right? Anything that's been exposed. Anything past that, people are just like, nope, I have no idea what you're talking about. Nope, sorry, that's nonsense. Sorry, now you're going a little bit nuts with it. All right, so you cut me off in the middle of this one. I knew you were going to on this one anyway. All right. So in that sense, these new rules don't regulate any content or application on the internet or dictate how the internet operates or where traffic is routed. So, in that sense, the answer is no. They do regulate access to the last mile of the internet, which is the network that connects your home or mobile device to the net. So, that is scary because they regulate access to the last mile. Okay, so
They can
they're not regulating the whole internet as a sense, but they're regulating the internet providers, the internet providers don't create the internet. They don't own the internet. You know what I'm saying? The internet is out there separate from them. They're the ones who are connecting you to that internet. You know what I'm saying? There's a giant bubble, and the internet providers are a smaller bubble with a line that connects to your house, right?
Yeah.
Now, a line that connects to a box that connects to a whole bunch of houses, okay? And that's those whole bunch of houses, the line from that box to a whole bunch of houses, the last mile. The government has control from that box forward. Or the body doesn't have control. See, we like to look at regulate as control. Regulate is not always control, especially when it comes to something as complex as the internet. Yeah, all right? Like the internet is there's nothing else. We haven't had anything else like the internet in human history that we know of. You know?
True.
So when you say, oh, it's being controlled because they're saying they're regulating it, well, that's what we think because with so many other things that have been regulated, with regulation comes control. But with the internet, it's such a massive and such a different kind of thing that you can only really control certain aspects of it. And you can't have full control over it. You know what I'm saying? You can have full control over it, but if you take full control, there's going to be rioting and there's going to be people going insane. But
the whole purpose of the internet when the military first made it was...
We already know that.
Well, the whole purpose when the military first created the internet was it was supposed to be that way so that if the U.S. ever did get invaded, at least the internet wouldn't be able, there was no physical way to stop it, shut it off, take it down, so people could still communicate and get the word.
It's like Eagle Eye, son. Can't take it down. All right. Blah,
Great
blah, blah.
movie. That movie was actually based on the Echelon package, to be honest.
All right, see, this is where they start talking out their ass, and you can tell they're kind of shills. And CNET is obviously owned by a bigger company.
Well, with a name like CNET, what do you expect?
Well, no, CNET at one time was not a huge company. CNET was like a smaller technology website, and I guess we're one of the chosen ones when the .com bubble came along and some big company bought them, or they made it through, because everybody always going to love technology, and they made it through and got bought out, and they're huge now. All right. Well, they still don't have a TV channel again. I missed their TV channel. I used to watch it. I was literally on like probably 15 to 20 years ago. All right. This means the rules govern just the companies and the sections of their networks that deliver internet access to consumers. Companies subject to the regulation are broadband providers like AT&T, Verizon, or Comcast, which sell consumers fixed or wireless access to the internet. Okay? So, all right. The FCC keeps saying that not all the Title II regulations apply to broadband. What pieces of the old-style regulation will apply? This is just too long to read, and I'm not going to get into it. Doesn't look like it's going to affect us, and we're running desperately out of time. All right, this current FCC may be, number 8, this current FCC may be forbearing most Title II provisions, but could a future FCC change that? In theory, yes, but FCC officials said on a call with reporters on Thursday that it's not that easy. That's one reason the FCC spelled out its rationale in a 400-page document. With it, the agency creates a record that could be used to prevent future iterations of the FCC from undoing everything. And keep in mind that the FCC has to follow procedures for any official action it takes, including changing its own regulations. Those procedures include a notice of proposed rulemaking, which must be introduced and accepted by the majority of commissioners. Then there's a public comment period on the proposal, followed by a comment period on the comments. Then the full commission votes, and at least 3 out of 5 commissioners need to approve those new rules before they can pass.
That's a lot of commenting.
That is a lot of commenting. It's government fucking heebie-jeebies.
It's the government, yeah. What do you expect?
Number 9. Will emergency services like connected cars and telehealth applications be regulated under these new rules? Won't that stifle innovation? Services that don't offer full internet access won't be regulated. These include things like cable telephony or voice over IP services, dedicated heart monitoring services, e-readers, connected cars, or the new voice over LTE services offered by wireless operators. Such services all use the internet, but they don't offer consumers access to the public internet. Okay.
I was wondering about that.
Now, they don't offer consumers access to the public internet, right? But they still access the internet for information. They're still accessing a form of the internet, even though they're only accessing their service. Can you get him so he doesn't climb up there and knock a whole bunch of shit over? So they're still accessing a form of the internet. Now, what basically my thought on this is that within a certain amount of time, there will be a small tax added to usage of the internet, or like but it won't be like usage like how phone usage was, because that's just insane. Like people are just like me and you, like we look at a lot of stuff on the internet. What the fuck? It'll be like added on to a monthly bill as far as like
a utility,
but not a utility in the sense
that's the FCC's own words.
But not in a utility as in a sense as how much you use, and a utility in a sense as a percentage of how much you pay the what do you call it, cable company. And it leaves the door open for the cable company.
You lost me now.
A percentage of how much your bill is to the cable or to your broadband provider each month. So it's 3% of your cable bill each month, instead of for how much you use, you're getting taxed. So if you were on the internet and you used 17 gigabytes of bandwidth this month, or you downloaded 17 gigabytes worth of stuff, well then you got to pay for every one of those gigabytes. You got to pay $100 tax or a $10 tax on each one of those gigabytes or something. No, that would that would get out of hand.
Me on playing Call of Duty.
People would hate that, and people would reject it immediately, right? What people won't reject is when they tax 3% of your bill, 2%, 2.5%, or 2.1% of your bill that you pay each month, right?
Yeah.
But they leave the door open for the cable providers, and now they've got control to the point where no new cable providers can come about, new broadband providers can come about. Or at least they got to jump through a lot of hurdles to do it.
Oh, yeah.
So all the other cable companies can start slowly rising their prices all together. You know, so no one's cheaper
Yep,
than the other.
yep,
You know,
yep.
maybe a little bit of staggering, but they're all slowly getting up.
They'll stagger it
it's
just
inflation.
enough. They'll stagger it just enough to look competitive.
Just enough to look at McDonald's. Well, that's how they do it. Come on,
Exactly.
it's McDonald's and Burger King. That's how.
Well, it's like gas stations when you have two gas stations across the street from each
Exactly.
other.
It's just
this
business.
guy's price went up 3
It's just
cents. We
business,
got to
but
raise
ready?
ours 4. He raised his 2
as
cents.
those
Raise ours
prices
2
go
more.
up, as those monthly prices go up, what also goes up? The tax.
Profit.
The profit
yeah,
from that tax.
Yeah.
But also, what always happens in government when there's a tax on something? We got to raise taxes. Sorry, you know what I'm saying? And hey, it's the internet prices, and what they're going to do is prices are going up so fast or going up so high on cable internet, and there's no other cheaper alternatives, and the government will know that, and they'll already be taxing it, and they'll like, well, they're raising the price of internet for a reason. We have to raise the tax of internet because the cost of regulating it is also expensive, because they're saying the cost of operating and providing you internet is getting more expensive. So our cost of regulating that is getting more expensive. So unfortunately, we're going to have to tax you a little bit more, and budget deficits and blah, 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 blah. And wasn't it funny? Did you watch the Corporation Nation documentary?
I watched most of it. I fell asleep.
Then now you know that a budget deficit is completely different than the actual balance.
Oh, but while we're talking about this, the word tax appears 49 times in the document.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, man. See, this is where it's just crazy, dude. All right. See, and now they're not. See, the interconnection deals between like Netflix and Comcast and stuff like that, where Comcast can kind of get.
I like their answer.
Speed.
Yes and no.
Yes and no.
Really?
Well, they do. They're regulating it, but I don't even get it. Has a lawsuit started yet? Not yet.
Yes.
And they won't. Yes, they have. Yeah,
Yes, they have.
This
That's
is from,
bullshit.
8 days ago or something?
Oh, okay. That explains it. March 14th. It's like
2
days ago. The lawsuit started already. This is bullshit. This is government propaganda telling you what they want you to hear.
Well, no, lawsuits being filed and lawsuits starting.
Good point. Yeah, they have been filed.
Have not started.
A lot of lawsuits have already been filed.
And lawsuits also just thrown out.
There's a couple big companies that have filed some lawsuits over
Just
there.
because you're filing a lawsuit doesn't always mean that you're starting a lawsuit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you have no legal basis for a lawsuit. So it's like you're talking out your ass. All right. There's something I wanted to read, Brian. Anybody out there, take a look at Project Echelon. That's something like I had heard about before, and that's something
and that's
you need to remind people about.
That started in 1947, by the way,
and comes to present now.
If you've never heard of Echelon, that started in 1947, and if you watch the Jason Bourne movies, I believe it was either the second one or the third one. I think it was Bourne Ultimatum. The CIA woman, the blonde, what was her name? I don't remember it right now. But she was asking when she walked into the CIA operating room, do you have your Echelon package online? Like it was a nonchalant thing. Yeah, it's because it's been around since 47. It's briefly been talked about in the media over the decades, and they really don't want you to know it exists because it listens to your conversations to determine whether it should flag you for further investigation.
Yep. And yeah, see, it's all advanced.
And that's the CIA, the same company that gave us Facebook.
Brian, like everybody likes to think, and I hate like that it's all ignored. And yeah, maybe it's ignored because most people think it's just cuckoo and crazy. But you know what?
They do, but it's admitted.
You're not even letting me finish what I'm saying. I'm getting to something completely different. All of this, and I've talked about this before. All of this whole system. What have I said before? It could all be set up. We're thinking that it's all set up to spy on the American public and to watch you changing your underwear, and that's the eventual goal. No, and to watch and to keep control over you and make sure. No, maybe it's all the literal. Maybe we've said this before, so it's not like it's the craziest thing you've ever heard. That the UFOs or aliens. There's an alien race that controls and literally owns us, and we're kind of like their pets.
I think that's the only way this
and that's
makes
why
sense.
that system, because when you start really getting onto that and you really start delving down the rabbit hole, there's a UFO abducting you within a couple days. Within a day or two, you're being abducted by UFOs. You're not going to know about it unless you have some hypnosis regression shit, and you're going to no longer really have those thoughts that you were having. They're going to literally extract those thoughts out of your head and then let you come back out. And all of a sudden, from that point forward, you won't even think like, what? I'm not like if you're onto the shit from that point forward. After they abduct you, you're like, and people are like, so what were you on to? What was this UFO stuff? And it's like, oh, I thought I saw a UFO in the sky the other day. And now I'm thinking back on it. I'm pretty sure it was a plane or something. And it's like, even though they thought they didn't really think they saw a UFO in the sky the other day, that was just the excuse planted into their brain because, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
I got you.
And people say, oh, that's just crazy. But it's like, you look into UFOs and you look into abduction stories and all that kind of stuff.
Well, you look at Kurzweil with singularity. The only way
stuff.
that any of these things make sense to me is if a technological alien race. I hate to say the Transformers, but it makes sense to me if Megatron is in control of the Earth and he is in control of the New World Order.
Right. Yeah, no, I don't believe Megatron, but no. On that same Ray Kurzweil thought, we're going to touch on Ray Kurzweil next week. We're also going to touch on this. I want next week's show to be our not singularity show. The world is a simulation. I want next week to be the world is a simulation. Reality is a simulation. Reality doesn't even exist.
So we're in the Matrix.
This is all simulation. This is either a giant PC or a giant computer. This could
we're
be
all
like
living in the Matrix,
this
ladies
could be
and gentlemen.
like the Matrix. There's so many possibilities, but it is all just a simulation.
So you're telling me that was a documentary starring Keanu Reeves?
That's if you've ever looked into. If you ever type into Google The Matrix and philosophy,
it's a theory.
Your mind
I'm
will
not
be blown.
dismissing.
Look up a documentary. It's not even a well, it kind of is a documentary. Return to the Source. You look up or it might be Return to Source.
Return to Source.
Yeah. Matrix and philosophy. It is. It really touches on a lot of the philosophy aspects of the Matrix, and where you're like, oh shit. Yeah, I guess, it is kind of true. Like, we don't really know if we're in a simulation or not. And, like, there
really
are
don't.
actually
That's
sometimes, like, there are little white rabbits that kind of tell us that it's not, we see a white rabbit and we know, like, there's a part of us inside of us that knows that that's us being told that this is all just fake, you know what I'm saying?
61 minutes, 10 seconds. We're saving that. It's bookmarked.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's one of my favorite ones. I can't remember if I got it on DVD or not. I definitely need to get it on there. All right, so I wanted to read you this. We're going to wrap up the Internet Explorer. What? Internet Explorer shouldn't be playing a damn thing. All right, so we're going to wrap up with this. I've read this story, and I was looking up net neutrality. How this came up. Oh, no, I wasn't looking up net neutrality. I was looking up Grand Theft Auto 6 because I'm interested if Grand Theft Auto 6 is coming out at any time in the next year or two, or if there's any rumors about it.
I'm wondering
what kind of features are going to be.
I want to know what city they're using.
Oh, my idea. Hold on, I had a thought about that.
I really want them to do Philadelphia.
London. They're either doing London or a city like, not Cleveland. Cleveland would just be too dicey.
Detroit?
Yes. Detroit.
That would be interesting.
Detroit, because of all the abandoned homes, you can go into all those abandoned homes.
I'd really like to see them do Philadelphia. I think that would be a good one.
I think they might also go back to Miami, too.
But I think Philadelphia
Philadelphia
is a city that deserves it.
Or southern Florida, even with the Keys, and you can fly around it, and then there's part of it. I don't know how they would block off.
I'm actually disappointed.
Highways, I guess.
I'm disappointed when they did Liberty City. They didn't use Philadelphia. That would have been a good one.
Liberty City.
You don't remember?
Oh, yeah. But Liberty City, New York, dude. You gotta use New York. But
I mean, I really want to see one where they do Philadelphia. I would like to see
any game do Philadelphia. There's been games that have done on PS2 and PS1. There's been games that have done New York, that have done LA. There's
it's the same cities
game.
Every time. Give me a Philadelphia game.
There's Miami, and it's like, I want to see Philly, but I want to see a real Philly. There was a Philly, I think, in Die Hard. No. In the Die Hard game, that was still New York City. It was like Harlem or something.
The fourth Die Hard movie, the opening scene was in Camden.
I'm talking about Die Hard video game. I'm talking about video games where you can drive around Philly. There's not many.
No, there's none.
But you know it's a cool video game? There would be a cool video game. What would be a cool video game is where no matter where you live, when you buy that video game, if you buy it in that region,
it's that city?
Whatever store that it got shipped to, it's the 10-mile square region around
that would be pretty
that
cool.
store.
That would
so,
be
like, wherever
cool.
you go to buy your thing, you're literally buying the game to play in recreated your town and your
so you
your
know
area.
everything already,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
everything is.
Yep. And then if you want, you can buy the other games. Like you'd have to buy another game, physically another game, to start connecting all the cities around it.
That'd be interesting.
You know what I'm saying? But you could do that. You can make like a whole state. And
That
all
would be an
stuff.
interesting game, actually.
It would be a crazy game, though. Other than the fact that you'd have to change discs once you got to the border.
But I mean, I'm so
Up to 10
desperate for something Philadelphia, like legit Philadelphia.
your freedom. All right,
Atlantic City will be nice too, but I know that'll never make
all right, Brian. Here's a story for you.
I want Philadelphia.
On this note, everybody check us out. Thank you for joining us. Episode 22 has been a blast. Episode 23 is life, is the world, is reality, is the universe, a giant simulation, a computer program. Is it fake? And what is fake? What is real? Like, when you start thinking about it, let's get philosophical up in this bitch, because we've been too hardcore on the facts and all that stuff. I like being philosophical, Brian. All right, so anybody, thank you for joining us. That's going to be us. Next week is our simulation show. We're moving the show from now on. You can catch us on Thursdays, so it's 3NN Thursdays. Don't forget to tell your friends, check out 3NNs on Thursdays. And
Tell your friends, check us out, period. Some people haven't heard of us yet.
3NN Thursdays. Hey, eventually we're going to just... we're going to explode like a pimple on a 13-year-old fucking boy's face who... I was going to say works at McDonald's, but I don't think there's 13-year-old kids
Before we
working at
sign off,
McDonald's.
I want to touch on a
We're not
law
signing
that passed in Mississippi that allows police officers to enter your home and shoot your pit bull if you have a pit bull that's not in a cage.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
I live in a house that owns a pit bull, so to me that kind of...
For more of this this news, Brian is Mr. Current Events sometimes, I'll tell you what. For more current events with Brian McFadden, check out No Budget News, man.
Which hasn't done an episode since its premiere a year and a half ago.
Hey, don't feel bad, man. I used to make YouTube videos, and like I tell myself literally on a daily basis, I tell myself, I'm going to make another YouTube video today. And what
never happens.
I end up passing out or falling asleep at the end of the night, and I'm like, fuck it, tomorrow.
Yep. And
tomorrow comes and I don't do it. But you know what? One of these days I'm going to do it. And then that's that little spark where I'm like, I think I might do it again. And again. And again. And all of a sudden I'm just putting out videos. So, you know.
That's part of why I liked when we were first discussing starting this show, because I was like, okay, now I'm in this with other people, so I have to show up and do it.
Yeah, well, that's you're also...
I don't have an excuse
Brian,
now.
As we gain an audience and a fan base, you're also going to have to put out some other material, whether it's articles that you write or it's videos. If you want to do articles, I might be able to get you a gig here, bub. So, but you'd have to do some sample articles. I want to see what you got. All right, so on that note, check us out. Facebook.com/3NN podcast. 3NN@outlook.com is the email. Brian3NN @hotmail.com.
I knew you knew it.
Screws me up, but it's like it's
I knew
so
you knew
easy,
it.
but I don't know. All right. We're going to end up with that. Thank you for joining us, everybody. We have a story that I need to read you. This made me die laughing when I heard it, because you know what? I'm a night owl. I'm a little bit nocturnal sometimes. And if I didn't live with my girlfriend, I've done this. I've literally been the guy 2, 3 o'clock in the morning with my TV at, it goes up to 100. I got it at 83, and I'm playing Grand Theft Auto. And I'm just playing missions. I'm not going nuts. I'm just playing missions. Okay.
Halo 3 online, I used to do.
Hear this story out, and this is like the best possible ending we could have for this show. And we've gone on 2 hours today, so this might...
serious?
This isn't going to be 23, because 23 needs to be the next one, but maybe we'll have a part 1 and a part 2. I like breaking it up, you know. So, all right, Brian, hear me out on this. This is insane, and you will die laughing, but I just can't get enough of it, okay? All right. It says ASBO. Aspo. Maybe that's where he's from.
Oh.
All right. Aspo man and neighbor from hell, Sean Harper, has been told he will go to prison unless he ends a hate campaign in a sleepy Devon village. All right, so I'm reading this like a hate campaign. This dude sounds like an asshole. Like, a hate campaign in his own village. And, like, come on, dude. All right. Harper has tried to force his neighbors to move out of Broadcliffe near Cullompton for months by banging on walls and playing Grand Theft Auto at full volume in the middle of the night. And I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding me?
That's
but why is the
great.
guy banging on the walls? Like, what's up with him? All right. Then all of a sudden I'm like, I keep reading. His campaign of harassment was banned by an antisocial behavior order, but he ignored it and carried on persecuting other residents in the quiet street where he lived. Harper, aged 45, has broken the order six times and been jailed twice, but on the day he was released, he taunted his terrified neighbors by asking them, which of you is going to be moving out first? And I'm like, man, this guy really sounds like a dick.
Yeah.
Then I read on a little bit more, and I'm like, hold on. Wait, hold the phone. And he is kind of a dick, no matter what, but I don't know. The next night, they were kept up until 4 a.m. by the sounds of cars crashing as he played his favorite computer game next door. At one point, he banged the walls between his house and that of a couple of pensioners next door. They had to abandon their bedroom because they thought he was going to burst through. Harper of Woodland Road, Broadcliffe, admitted 4 breaches of an ASBO and was jailed for 12 months, suspended for 2 years with supervision and alcohol abuse education. The judge told him, "You were clearly trying to make your neighbors feel they could not carry on living there. You were doing this deliberately to disturb them." And I'm like, yeah, it sounds like he was. He sounds like a dick, right? But then listen to what he's got to say, all right? All right, but this is still the judge. In short, you embarked on a campaign to disrupt their quiet enjoyment. You were trying to force them out. You made their life a misery. How can you treat people like that? You have deliberately breached court orders and embarked on a course of harassment to destroy and disrupt the lives of your neighbors. It has had a significant impact on the quality of their lives. My intention is to protect the neighbors. If you are stupid enough to breach this AFBO, this sentence will be activated and any future sentence will not be measured in months but in years. The judge said the only reason he was not imposing an immediate sentence was because Harper has been in jail on remand since October and has already served the equivalent of 10 months. So it's like, if he's been in jail, how's he still breaking the thing? How's he still playing GTA in his house? Something doesn't add up. But anyway, right? This is where it gets fun. And I got a backstory of my own. It'll only take 10 seconds to tell you, but it's pretty funny. Well, it's not funny. This whole thing is funny. Ian Graham, prosecuting, said the ASBO was made in March, but Harper, I'm guessing ASBO is like a court order. It was made in March, but Harper broke it repeatedly and was jailed twice. So he was jailed twice for playing Grand Theft Auto. But if up to this point, you're like, no, he was jailed twice for banging on the walls and
playing it at
sounds like he's gonna like slamming into the walls, like he's trying to break through the walls into other people's houses and shit. Like, yeah, he's a dick. Playing at high volume, yeah, he is a dick. But have we not all done that by accident or having a good time and a little bit? You've been drinking that night, like, fuck it, I'm turning this thing all the way up. I want to hear pop, 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 pop. All right. He was released from the second sentence on October 14th, but very shortly afterwards, he approached 2 neighbors in the street asking which would be the first to be moving out. In the next few days, next-door neighbor Graham Woodgate and his wife suffered repeated disruptions from noisy video games, loud banging on walls, and Harper shouting on the phone at 6 a.m. Mr. Woodgate and his wife had to move out of their bedroom because the banging was so loud they thought Harper was trying to smash his way through into their home. Warren Robinson, defending, said Harper inherited the house from his father, but now realizes it is unsuitable and has put it on the market. He said he plans to move to his mother's home in Exmouth on his release, has learned his lesson, and now uses headphones when playing computer games. He said, the problem is that he was in the wrong house. He is a nocturnal person who enjoys playing games and listening to music at night. That explains it all. This guy was not an asshole. He's a little bit of an asshole, but he's a nocturnal dude who's living in his own place. It's not like he's living in, like, he moved into it, I think, after his dad died, right? He inherited the house from his father, so he moved into this place. He had already probably lived at another place, was used to playing video games at night. They had fine, like, fine soundproofing and stuff in the house, so he could play it loud as he wanted, and it really, some people might have heard doom, 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 doom. But it wasn't really like loud. It wasn't waking people up, or his bedroom wasn't near anybody else's bedroom, so it's like, or his living room wasn't near anybody else's bedroom, so it wasn't really disturbing to people. His windows tell there's rooms and there's houses and apartments and stuff where sound can be held, especially newer places. Sound can be held really well and managed very easily, right? Then he moves to his dad's old place down in Exfordshire or whatever the hell he's living, right? And he's like, I got my own place now. Well, apparently his dad's place is like a condo or something, and the living room is literally connected or right on the other side of the wall to bedrooms on other sides of the wall.
Okay, yeah.
So, or just the sound, or there's like literally no soundproofing or whatever. So, like his dad was like listening to the Weather Channel at 3 o'clock in the morning, if anything, watching that late, and it was like, and it was like real low. You know what I'm saying? So now all of a sudden, that's what they're used to coming from that house. Like never a disturbance, always peaceful. All of a sudden, this dude moves in. He likes to drink. He likes to smoke a little bit of weed.
Gunshots and car
he
crashes.
He goes outside, smokes his joint. You know what I'm saying? Comes inside, grabs his beer. He's like, you know what? It's Grand Theft Auto time. You know what I'm saying? And the neighbors, it's 2:30 in the morning, and the neighbors are deep asleep. It's Grand Theft Auto time. I'll tell you what. He freaking turns on his Xbox or whatever. Got his big screen. That's the best. When you got a big screen TV, turning Grand Theft Auto, and the bigger the TV, the better. When you turn on Grand Theft Auto on full blast, and I used to have in my house when I was a teenager in high school, I used to play Grand Theft Auto, Vice City, and San Andreas. I don't think San Andreas was out yet. Maybe it was. I used to play Vice City. I had it hooked up, my PlayStation hooked up to my sound system, which was like a nice-ass Sony sound system. So when I would play Vice City, and I'd be like, and I had the surround sound hooked up, it was like, and when you have surround sound hooked up, it sounds real.
Yeah.
Outside of the room, you're like, oh my God, what's going on in there? And you hear, pop, 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 you hear, but you hear like the scream like going across the room. It's not like the scream is just like coming from a speaker in the room or coming from two speakers in front of the TV.
Surround sound
is crazy, right? So this dude's got his surround sound hooked up. He's got his Xbox turned on. He turns on his Xbox, turns on GTA 5, right? First thing that turns on, choop choop, woo, click. You know what I'm saying? And like there's that first noise. So all of a sudden he's got the TV turned all the way up. And he's like. The neighbors, they're like, oh, whatever, you know, and then they hear, doom, 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 doom. They hear the music a little bit, and they're like, oh, my God, is he really playing music this late? Oh, well, it's not that bad, you know. You know what I'm saying? They go back to sleep. And all of a sudden, you hear, chuck, chuck. It just out of nowhere goes insane because he just started shooting some people. People are screaming. He probably jumped into his car, but it was, I don't know if you play Grand Theft Auto 5, but if you start shooting in a gang neighborhood, they'll like literally you get 30 gang members that start shooting at you and come running after you, or you get cars crashing into you. So like within seconds, it can just go straight to like mayhem. And if you got it turned all the way up, and I've been wanting to do that here for a while now, and there's only certain times you can really get, I don't want to say get away with doing it, but you can get away with doing it without being considered an asshole or having somebody knock on your door, especially when you live in an apartment building, but a small apartment building at that. Just imagine, he didn't think he was doing anything wrong. He wasn't like, fuck these neighbors, this and that. He's just a nighttime person, you know? Yeah. During the day, somebody can do that, and somebody might call the cops on you for noise, but the cops might come to your house and say, well, it's daytime. Who gives a shit? You know what I'm saying? Nobody's sleeping, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you're not really causing a disturbance.
They might knock on your door, hey, your neighbor said you're being
Exactly.
loud.
Can you turn it down just a little bit? It's your house, though, so you really don't. Like, you can say, do I have to? Well, it's your house.
Yeah, technically you don't. No.
Yeah, like, they can call, they put in a noise complaint. I can cite you for that if I can hear it from outside, but past that, there's not really much I can do, and I can't hear it from outside. So, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not that, I don't want to say it's not that big of a deal, because it is kind of a big deal to do it in the middle of the night. But, dude was not trying to do anything messed up. And it's so funny, my main point here is, right, that it literally, the answer to all of this, and could have kept him out of jail, and kept him... I can't believe he went to jail for playing Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, that's
2
kind of
times.
messed up.
That's kind of messed up, but I think it's hilarious because
it is.
The guy loves
really
Grand Theft Auto and loves playing it with the volume up. And I've been there, and that's why I guess why I loved it so much, because I've been that guy who has to play my Grand Theft Auto. And especially if you got good bass on it. If he had a sound system and he's got good bass, when each shot that you fire off or each car accident that you get into, you feel it like, you feel it like rumbling shit.
I played Halo
awesome,
2. Dude. I played Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo Reach, Halo 4. When those frag grenades go off, if you have good bass...
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God. Yeah. If you have somebody with a sniper rifle with good bass...
And that's what cracks me up is when the neighbors were saying, that's when I lost it, when the neighbors said that they thought that he was trying to crash into their house. He was literally... They think he's on the other side of the wall,
like in a car.
boom, slamming up against it, maybe with like a piece of plywood or something. Slamming
Trying to
against
bust the wall down,
And all
yeah.
reality, he's just sitting there like,
Playing with his...
you know what I'm saying? Maybe smoking a cigarette or drinking, sipping his beer, you know what I'm saying? And as chaos is going on, the people on the other side of the wall are like, oh my god, what is going on over here? You hear the gunshot? You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. So on that note, everybody have
before I might as well mention this because it goes along with the gaming thing. Have you heard of this new game that's very popular now, H1Z1?
No, it's a zombie game, huh?
It's a computer game that takes place after the apocalypse. There's zombies in it, but you're also playing online with other people. It's supposed to be after the decay of civilization and the last survivors with no power, electricity, anything. You have to find a car that works just to get from town to town.
Is it like 3D or is it like top
huge.
down?
It's it's 3D, but you can go first person or third person. It plays like GTA, kind of. You're just walking around the area, but the area is so huge.
Yeah, it's not that hard to do.
The entire nation, practically.
Not that hard to do. And speaking of, like, remember we were just talking about a game where
you can find weapon caches.
Well, remember we were just talking about a game how you can travel, like, your area and you want Philly and stuff like that? You could make a game with the technology we have now, right?
Use Google Maps.
You could literally, well, you could use Google Maps, but you could take Google Maps, all right? Take Google Maps and make a top-down, like Grand Theft Auto, the original Grand Theft Auto, make a top-down game using Google Maps, using a Google Map. You can literally take probably the northeast United States from Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, maybe even Maryland, Washington, D.C., and Virginia up. You can take all of those states and create a game that encompasses all of those states. Now, the thing is, the graphics would have to be close to what the Grand Theft Auto graphics were, but like not as colorful, but you'd have to like pixel down everything. So
I could see like a Revolutionary War game using that area.
So you could it would take time for like it would take us at least 10 years to get to the point, or maybe 5, 6, 7 years to get to the point where you can make it like kind of detailed and you're driving. There's a zombie game online that you can play that is you type in an address and you can play a zombie survival game top down using Google Maps that is right around where you are. I think it's called Stage 3 Pandemic or something like that. I don't know what it's called. It's kind of fun game. It's more of a simulation. It's not a game. It's a simulation.
The H1Z1 game, I just heard people talking about it, and I went on YouTube last night and just typed it in to see what it was about. And it's kind of interesting. You start off, spawns are totally random. Like, you can spawn somewhere completely different, get a good spawn, a crappy spawn in a city, in a village, or in the middle of the friggin' woods. But you can craft things like a bow, campfire. You have to go search for food.
Oh no, it sounds cool, but you know what?
You
know where I think I'm at.
It just
right
looks
now?
like it would be very time consuming if you can't
Eagles
get a car.
I played Madden for probably about 4 or 5 hours combined over the past 2 or 3 days because of what the Eagles did. I wanted to try and do the same thing and see how the team turned out. And hey, by the way, in my simulations, Sam Bradford sucks, and we end up with, in my first simulation, we ended up with an 8-8 record. A 7-8-1 record, and in my next simulation, we ended up with, I believe, either 6-9 record. No, 6-9-1 record.
Oh,
so we were horrible. Okay, we weren't able to, and I made all the moves that the Eagles have made so far, and then tried to draft well. I even moved them up in the draft to get a good young quarterback. You know what I'm saying? But the young quarterback was still not the starter over Sam Bradford. Sam Bradford was like 2 points better or 3 points better or something. But they sucked. By the way, they sucked. But after playing that, I got bored really quick with it. I used to be able to play Madden for like a week or two at a time and play it and I got the newest Madden thinking I'd be able to do that, and like they changed franchise mode so it's not as much fun, and that's really where I spent hours playing it. And
Me
it's
too.
You know what? All in all, and like I hear you tell me about certain video games, and you tell me how good Call of Duty is and this and that, and
the new one is amazing.
My buddy was into Payday or Payday 2 or whatever.
Actually, that's why going back to Philadelphia maps, I'd even settle for a Call of Duty map that's even 2 blocks of Philadelphia. They have 2 maps in the new game that are based on sections of Detroit.
Well, on that note,
one of them's called Detroit.
On that note, other than Grand Theft Auto games, which I enjoy Grand Theft Auto for the simulation aspect, that it's a very close simulation to reality, and for the you can do whatever you want and trying to get away from the cops and have fun like you're doing all that. But they also need to add an ability to record your police chase from a police helicopter and save that video. In Grand Theft Auto 6, they should have that ability to record from a police helicopter. If there's not one around, then you don't get it's just a regular view that you're looking at, or from the dash cams, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah,
That would be cool to record from all the dash cams and all the helicopters, and you can record all of that. And each time there's a chase, it'll ask you, once the chase is over, if you want to save that chase footage. And you can go through all that chase footage and create a little highlight reel of, as it going along, which footages you wanted to use as it went along.
That'd be pretty cool.
To create your thing, you could say that. That would be pretty awesome. But other than Grand Theft Auto, I really wanted to try Watch Dogs, I think it was.
I've heard a lot of good things about
I heard a lot of good things about Watch Dogs, and I might even still try that. But in all reality, other than Grand Theft Auto and maybe Watch Dogs,
I may end
I don't care. About video
this
games
is bad
anymore,
because
dude.
there's
I'm
a
ready
game
for the next evolution. I'm ready for the next step.
You know what? If you're a GTA player,
we went from N64.
Well, you look at this. You're
Genesis.
a GTA player, and you look at the kind of things we're into, the things we're aware of, the things we discuss. There's a game called what was it? I think it's called The Bourne Conspiracy or The Bourne something for Xbox 360, but it's a Jason Bourne game that's based on the backstory of the first movie more than it's based on the first movie. But it plays like GTA. It's that style where you're going around like the same camera angles, the same play style, except you're CIA agent Jason Bourne going on missions. It actually was very fun. I beat it in a day and a half just because it was so addictive.
Anybody else out there who's interested in a game like that, there's a game called The Getaway, and it's based on a movie. It was a movie released in Britain and in America, but it was much more popular in Britain. And it's in Britain. The Getaway is like the whole game is in Britain, and the cars are on a different side of the road and a different side of the car or whatever. But the game looked a lot more realistic, had a lot more of than GTA 4 at the time, or not GTA 4, GTA San Andreas at the time. I think maybe it was GTA 4. I don't know. The Getaway was an awesome game.
Metal Gear
Solid.
Solid.
If you get a chance to check out the
Metal
Getaway.
Gear Solid was
compared
an awesome
to a game like
back in
Driver 2 or Driver 3. It's like oh my god, those games where you could drive and run around. It's tough. But anyway, on that note, dude, I'm done with video games. Other than Grand Theft Auto games, I'm done with video games. I'm getting rid of all my video games for the most part, other than the games my girlfriend likes. But getting rid of all my video games and keeping my Xbox for the hope that Grand Theft Auto 6 will be on Xbox 360. If it's not, then I'll save up and I'll trade in my Xbox 360 and Grand Theft Auto 5 for Xbox One or PS4 and the new Grand Theft Auto that's only available on it.
I would have got the Xbox One for the Halo 2 anniversary and the Master Chief Collection.
Don't waste your money,
the only reason I didn't is because the only other game I wanted was Call of Duty Advanced, and that came out on both systems.
But that's the point I'm making. It's like graphics. I'm kind of like we went from
Actually, I don't like the new Halo game that just came out.
We
it
went
looks
from
like crap in my opinion.
Sega Genesis. We went from Atari, which was like oh my god, to we went from 8-bit, 16-bit, 32-bit, 64-bit, then 128-bit. Even though there weren't many. There's Dreamcast.
Yeah, I think there was one other one. I forget what it was called though.
What do you call it?
Sega Dreamcast and Sony CD, I think, or Sega CD, and Sony Dreamcast.
No, Sega CD was 32.
That was 32?
Sega CD, I don't even know. I used to know it all. What do you call
I know there was
Basically,
a
we
second
jumped.
one.
We jumped all ahead though. Like we jumped pretty fast to realistic. Not pretty fast, but we got to the point where it's pretty realistic.
Yeah, what the hell? We should be in
And
virtual reality by now. What's going on? We should be controlling
within the
other
next
people,
5
right?
years. It's going to look. It's going to look almost indistinguishable from high definition television. But
I want to know,
Brian, what is that? Once we get to that point where it's indistinguishable from high definition television, there's nowhere else to go.
Yes, there is.
There's
There's
virtual reality.
one more place you can go.
There's virtual reality, Brian.
The movie gamer.
Immersion.
The movie gamer, where you're controlling, literally, you via virtual reality in your room. You can stand right here, and you walk into your little thing, and your movements,
That's
you're
what I just said.
virtually
Yeah.
controlling another human being who is elsewhere in this world through implants, the movie gamer.
Yeah, I don't know about all that. I'm more talking about the next step is, because that ain't happening. Like, where somebody on one part of the world is controlling somebody else on the other part of the world with implants. Like, that could happen, but that's not the next step. That's 10 steps away.
That's a couple steps.
That's 10 steps away, dude. I'm talking about the next step.
After virtual reality.
As far as the next big step for video games, no, the next big step for video games is not just virtual reality, because we've already hit virtual reality and we're on the cusp of the next generation of virtual reality.
Yeah.
The next generation of virtual reality is going to be gloves on and an ability. The next generation, that's what I'm talking about, is the next generation. Gloves on, headset on, completely wireless. Right now,
Yep.
it has to be wired. The good headsets, completely wireless, gloves on, wireless gloves, footies that you put on your feet, right? Or maybe not even footies, maybe just like little sensors that you put on your feet, and a sensor in each corner of the room that you're playing your game in. And your limitations will be, each game will figure out a way to confine you to the limitations of your room and let you know if your room's too small, unfortunately, for this game or whatever it is. That'll be the new, you don't have enough hard drive, or you know what I'm saying?
Now you need to get a bigger house.
Exactly. But that's the next step. And then the step after that, the next evolution, how we went from PlayStation 1 to PlayStation 1 to Xbox One in 10 years or 15 years. The next evolution will be basically a pad that you buy, but it's not a pad. It looks like almost like a trampoline. It's the size of a trampoline, maybe around the same weight, a little bit heavier. But a thing that you buy that is your system, that comes with the gloves, comes with the helmet. The helmet will be a lot smaller, but you jump on this thing and it spreads out like the thing. It folds out to be like 3 feet, 4 feet in diameter. And as you step in the center of this, put your headset on, and as you walk, this thing moves underneath of you, and you have complete and total freedom and control over your world, and you can move and do everything and interact with it. That's the next step. And the step up to where you got the sensors and stuff, I'm not even really sure about that.
I guess
but
after
that's
that
where I think I might really start getting back into video games, where I have 3D control in a whole nother world. That's the next step.
After that,
I'm tired of
the
sitting in
next
front of a
thing's
freaking
the
TV.
holodeck.
Dude, that's the holodeck is basically the other thing I was saying. But
kinda, but you still got some more stuff.
well,
You didn't need the gloves and all that. The
Well,
holodeck was full interactive.
Yeah, exactly. The
So,
holodeck.
I mean, it'll take us a while to get there. But
There's aspects of the holodeck
that already exist. But
Yeah,
there's
but-
aspects that we have.
But my thing
light
is,
years away from.
I'm tired of sitting in front of a TV. I don't even care if that TV, the stuff can jump out at me a little bit. That might be cool. I might experiment with it a little bit.
That might be cool for
but
a
I'm not
day or
going to get
two.
hooked on it. Because TVs are coming within the next 5 years. We'll have TVs where you don't need glasses to see for it to be 3D and the stuff to jump out at you. And then it'll be another 5 years before that's mainstream, right? And everybody has that TV.
And then you'll have old ladies having heart attacks when the dinosaur from Jurassic Park comes after them.
You'll see the next Xbox or whatever come out, and that's not the next major leap. The next major leap is virtual reality, and virtual reality will come out probably before that. But virtual reality still is like Oculus Rift and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's still going to be at least 5 years away from the next leap where it's like everybody wants it. It's affordable and everybody wants it.
Yes, right now it's very unaffordable.
Very
virtual
unaffordable,
reality.
and there's no
you
extremely
can't
good
afford
ones.
it unless your name's like Rockefeller.
Well, there's no extremely good ones out there, and there's eye strain. There's many things where that kind of stuff will be eliminated. And once we get to that point, I'm all about it, dude. I'm all about fucking.
Oh, I would love to play like a Call of
back
Duty
into
or
video
Halo
games.
game that was
My only
full
concern is, I don't
3D
know.
virtual reality.
Some games I guess I would love to play, like especially like a racing game. If I could sit there like that, like and I get like a steering wheel.
Oh, dude, I'm thinking about in Halo, if I could, instead of trying to use buttons, if I could just move and do what I would
See, but
do.
my thing is, my problem
it's
is,
on.
I don't know how much I'm gonna like virtual reality, and that's virtual reality companies and a lot of people who are developing it are realizing this it's very. The novelty of it wears off and the interaction of it wears off very quickly when you can't move around by moving your feet and you have to push a button to move around because that's not natural for anybody. So you can fool all of these senses, but when somebody pushes a button to move forward, unless there's somebody who's been in a wheelchair for the last 10 years and pushes a button to move forward no matter what, that's just not natural to them. They got to get to a point where you move your legs and you walk around, you can run, you can physically, and then the point after that is you're along the lines of the holodeck is where you still have the helmet on, you still have the visual thing on, so you're not disrupting everybody around you. But the gloves have sensors inside them or have the ability to, when you touch something, you feel that something. The gloves harden up a little bit in certain spots so that when you touch something, you feel it. When you're grabbing a gun, you feel the fucker in your hand, you know what I'm saying? But then that opens the door for, like, okay, well, if you're grabbing, like, a baseball bat, how do you... What's going to keep that baseball bat together, you know what I'm saying? So then, like, gloves with magnets in them or a certain magnet system that when you're grabbing something that two hands are holding the same item, the magnet thing pulls it together and your hands have to stay together. But what about a gun like that? How does the magnet hold your shit together? So
they got to work that out.
There's a lot of kinks, but once they get to that point, dude, I'm on it. But I think that's the type of thing, like, where if you're playing a game where you got a gun like that, you're going to have a plastic fake gun in your hand or that has some solidness to it. But that's going to, you know what I'm saying? So if you're playing a shooting game, it'll come with a plastic fake gun.
Probably something like the old duck hunt gun.
Or what'll be cool is, like, you could use a baseball bat. You can use anything you want that's just rigid and kind of in that shape.
Just as long as the gloves have something to...
While you're in it, you don't know you're holding a baseball bat.
2x4.
You're holding your gun.
You're holding a 2x4, but in the game,
all right, on that note,
AR-15.
that dude was insane. That freaking was playing Grand Theft
funny,
Auto
though.
in his
That
house
is great.
as loud as he could.
That is great.
I've done
That's
that so many
epic.
times, and you know what? I might just do it tonight because I had one cool neighbor and no other neighbors before, but now I've got five. What am I talking about? I've got two neighbors. I got a cool neighbor and then another guy who's like when it's during the day. Not Chicago. No. The CIA black sites, not Chicago black sites. The CIA black sites were admitted to torture sites, right? And yes, in Guantanamo, even in Guantanamo, where they put people in solitary confinement and played like the worst music.
Yeah. I've seen lists of the music they use, and it's like the stuff I listen to. I'm like, I would love that.
This muzzle would probably drive you insane after listening to this for a couple days at a time, a couple days straight. All of that is like being in a war zone, muzzled, so it's almost like it's right outside the door, right outside the walls. Like, that would be terrifying. Well, not terrifying, but that's how we drive you. Alright, on that note, everybody have a great week. We'll see you next week for our episode 23, our Is Reality a Simulation episode. Everybody have a super